I will call this meeting to order at 6:05. And again, apologies for the delay. Were there any other questions before we get started, or technical issues? Conversation that was happening when I walked in.
We were just talking about you.
Speaker?
What was that, Jenny?
No, we were just talking about
Can you
WebEx.
turn up your speaker?
Okay. So while we're waiting for Director Adams, let me get my here. Do I hear a? Oh, let's do a roll call. Councilor Dolan, I am here. Councilor Jarvis.
Here.
Councilor DeSorker.
Here.
Councilor Hirschfeld.
Here.
And Councilor Elmer.
Here.
Okay. That's great. And do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from September 8th and October 13th?
So moved, Hirschfeld.
Do I hear a second?
Second,
I'll
DeSorger.
second it, Elmer.
Okay. We can do a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that's taken care of. And it looks like Jay is back. Is that MJ?
She's on mute, whoever it is.
MJ, if you can see and hear us, we can't see or hear you. There you are.
There she is. Still on mute.
So if it's okay with the committee, recognizing that Director Adams has to leave at 6:30, I offered the first few minutes of the meeting just for a quick update. So take it away if there are no objections.
No objections? Okay, great. No, I just wanted to stick my head in. I just wanted to give you an update on where we are on a couple of things that affect the local economy. You might have heard that, we've been making our first micro enterprise awards this week, so we're happy to be helping the small businesses, both in Greenfield and in the region. The second thing is that our Massachusetts Downtown Initiative consultant, Peg Berenger, has completed the community survey and has completed the data has closed for the community survey that we did, and also the survey of the small businesses in downtown, and we should be seeing that report at the end of November. So I'm hoping in your December meeting we can have a little time to share that with you. And that is an economic analysis and market assessment of the downtown area. And that is the first step that we are doing, because next year we're talking about doing an update, not a full-blown redo, but an update of the downtown revitalization plan, which will, so we want to get some good data before we move forward on that. We're looking to do a shared streets, a second round of the shared streets funds from Mass DOT. Those are the funding. That's the funding that we use to get the planters and the heaters and the barricades and speed bump for the outdoor dining. And we're looking for a second round application for next spring. We're talking about perhaps trying to make the Court Square pedestrian into the pedestrian plaza that we've been talking about, although we will not be able to we will not be able to do everything that we'd like to do there, but we'd like to pick some elements that we can start to implement. I think that's all I have to update and to answer any questions you might have. Oh, the other thing is that we should be receiving the feasibility study from the consultant about the use of the First National Bank as a creative art flexible space, and we'll be receiving that in the Greenfield Redevelopment Authority and the advisory board that we pulled together to work on that project. We'll be meeting with the consultant in early December. I think December 8th is the meeting, and then there'll be some community conversation about next steps for that project. That's it, I think.
Great, thank you so much. Any questions from the committee?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Go ahead.
MJ. That was a great report. Is that the only thing that has been looked at for that building? Because I think someone else.
Are you talking about the First National Bank building?
Yes.
Yes, that's been the primary focus over the last couple of years. We will see from the consultant's report whether or not how feasible that project is, or what needs to happen or be in place for it to be a feasible project. We shall see whether or not that comes out with the dial towards feasibility. And if not, I mean, I think we knew that the conversation and the effort to create that space as a creative, flex space really generated a lot of interest and energy, and some other good spin-offs have happened as a result of that conversation. But whether or not that real estate, if that's the best use for that real estate, or if it's even financially feasible to do the concept that's been floating around, we will see. We will get the report out on that in December, and then need to be more for, think next steps after that. Either is it feasible, and how, or if whether or not we want to proceed along that path, or do we determine that it's not feasible, and perhaps it's time to start considering other uses for that site. But we're all waiting for the data to come in.
Follow up, if I may. I think there was someone on this board that had another idea for that, but we're going with the idea that was first thought of by whom?
I think that's a reference to Councilor Elmer. So
Yes.
if you'd like to follow up.
But I wanted to know whose idea. This is, whose idea was the first one? Like, where did we, like, when we're making a decision, now we're going down the path, we're on this path.
Mhm.
Who thought of that to begin with?
I don't know exactly who specifically thought about it, but if you take a look at our sustainable Greenfield master plan, it's one of the goals in the master plan. It came out of that process, and that's where it was picked up and moved forward out of. The redevelopment authority ended up purchasing the building from the CDC because the CDC wasn't able to do what they had hoped with it, and I think everyone felt like it was a grossly underutilized site in a very high-profile location in the downtown. So there was a sense that they wanted to see some movement. There has been some discussion, and I think in this committee we've talked about the effort to reach out to perhaps Apple or some other folks who might have some interest in that building to see what it might be. But I think that at the moment we're working out of the fact that it was in the master plan, the sustainable Greenfield plan, that the community wanted to see us work towards that direction.
And was that before the Hive, et cetera? Like, okay. All right.
I think the concept of having something a little more creative work, flexible spaces in downtown Greenfield has been articulated as a great idea. I think people early on fixated on the First National Bank building because it was there and underutilized. But I think because of that early interest and energy, we've seen a lot of good other things happen in downtown Greenfield. And the question is that original concept for First National Bank viable anymore?
Okay, I'm just going to say this, and then I'm going to let Phil speak, that I think that we are economic development, and I always keep thinking that we have to think of what is going to be the best, things for our economy that fit with the overall mindset. We've done a lot of, there are things that will come up later that were in the sustainable master plan, but I just wondered where it came from, and thank you so much for all you do. I'm going to be silent now. My best thing.
Phil, do you want to give us an update?
Yeah, I've talked to MJ and the mayor about this, and we've done some drafting of letters to Apple. My understanding is that from MJ and the mayor is that this process has to be completed, the one that started, before we go anywhere else. And if we do go somewhere else, MJ, maybe you can clarify. We would probably have to put out a request for proposals. I mean, there's a procedure that would have to, we can't just give a building to someone. We would have to see who else would be interested and formally request offers. it might, if you know, and then we'll find out whether Apple is interested at all.
Right.
But I didn't think it was my place to go around this procedure that was already in place. But it's going to come to a conclusion pretty quickly. We're talking about. Can I ask you, MJ, in what format will the report be given, and will there be a public hearing or anything like that?
The report is coming out first to the GRA will be receiving that, and yes, there'll be a public. It will become a public document, but first, the game plan is first to have it presented to the GRA and the advisory group that's been working on this project, so that they can talk it through and get a good understanding, so they can explain it to the community and have a good sense of where they think they might be going with the project.
Can I ask you, who is the GRA? Who is that, and is there a person at the head of it?
Sure. Adam Provost is the chair. He's been on the GRA for a number of years. The other folks who sit on the Greenfield Redevelopment Authority include Bill Mason, Gene Wall, Nancy Hawkins, and Charlene Galanka. And then we have an advisory group for it's called the Friends of the First National Bank, because the original concept is that there would be a nonprofit that would be formed that would operate the building, very much like the Academy of Music model in Northampton. And the Friends of the First National Bank include Chris Sykes, Linda McInerney, John Lunt, the mayor. I'm doing this from memory. I don't think I'm missing anyone else, but there was a small group of people who had a sense of how these buildings, how nonprofits work generally. And they were pulled on to be an advisory group.
Got it. Thank you.
Can you folks hear me?
Yes.
I am having some technical issues. I'm on my phone and it's acting a little squirrely. I'm gonna leave and come back. Can I appoint Treasurer DeSorger to chair the meeting just while I'm gone, and if I have to leave in the future?
I'll do that.
Okay, thank you. I'll be right back.
Okay. And did anybody else have anything to say on that? No. I don't have my agenda here for what's next. I'm just going to pull this out. Let's see. After that.
Tim, are you back?
No, I'm actually having issues leaving now. My phone is entirely frozen. I think WebEx overwhelmed it. And I can't get in on the computer.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to the meeting in progress. So I just
I can say the first item on the agenda is an update on the boards and commissions. And the plan for that was I was going to report back on some kind of further study on licensing. And I don't have anything conclusive to bring back. So I appreciate Kathy putting that in the agenda to keep me honest. But it's kind of ended up being a little bit more complicated than I thought. And so I'll continue to work on that. So unless anybody has anything else on that topic, we could move on to the deliberation on the zoning, which I think is kind of the main event tonight. And I will continue to try to get back in a more permanent way.
I'm going to bow out since it sounds like you're done with me tonight, and we'll see you in December.
Thank you, MJ.
All right, good night.
Tim, I'm going to say something about a different board, if I may. Or should we save that for later?
No, if you have more input on the boards and commissions, I think that's great.
I've been attending the Board of Assessors meetings, and I'm just want to report to say something because I think that's very much tied to economic development. And they're every other Thursday at 9, if anyone cares to join in. This is probably the biggest source of revenue that would be coming to our city is the proper assessment of businesses and homes. And I would just say, like, we have to keep on that to make sure that that is being done. I haven't seen the, the 30,000 that we spent for the assessment. It's just something that I would encourage people to be aware of, that more work needs to be done there. That's all.
Can I add to that? Tim doesn't. I'll just go ahead
Yes.
and add to that.
Right.
Jenny has briefed me on some of the work she's done, and I'm persuaded there's a lot of money sitting on the table that Greenfield isn't collecting. Much of it apparently from my precinct or district, and I'm a little mystified why these taxes aren't being collected, why the assessments aren't why we're not assessing properties equally. That Ginny's come up with a lot of discrepancies, and I suspect that there are more that she hasn't found. And I don't know if it's a problem with the people who are running the assessments, or what. And I'm planning to attend these. The meetings are at 9 a.m. And the first one is next week. Is that right, Jenny?
Yes. Next, not this Thursday, but next Thursday.
And I think if the more counselors get involved in this, the more likely there'll be some change. So I would encourage you guys, if you can make it, to join in. That's it. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Phil.
Tim, are you still there?
I am still here, but I have very limited. I'm trying to get in a different way. So I would appreciate it if Ginny would continue to run the meeting.
So we're going to move on now to
until
our
I'm back.
discussion.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to move on to the discussion at hand with the zoning. And I actually have a little bit of trouble opening this agenda at the same time, but I'm going to try to look at the very first one. Okay. So you're not seeing my face, but I'm still talking here. Meeting progress. Oh, now I don't see everyone. Okay. So does anyone have any thoughts that they'd like to share on the first zoning, on the zoning that's up in front of us? We've gotten a lot of letters, and I wondered how people were feeling, if anybody's had any change of their thoughts or whatever.
If I might just clarify, what's on the table now is the issue related to the condominium law, correct?
Right.
Okay, I do have something to say. Can I talk, Jenny?
Yes, you can talk, because I'm trying to look at the agenda and not seeing people at the same time.
The condominium bit got confused a bit because David Singer made sort of a friendly suggestion that we move the language from one place to another. I looked at that and it just didn't seem worth sending this thing all the way back. It had already been through the planning board. It had already been in the public hearing the way it was. So I did not change it. And the form it's in is the form that it was originally came to us from the planning board. And I know that they've since that our meeting our joint meeting, I guess, have had a vote on it. Is that right, Ginny? And
Yes, I listened. I was on that meeting for another problem that was happening in my precinct. So then I stayed to listen, and they approved unanimously the closing the loophole part.
okay.
That is actually, you can help me out, Phil, because I'll have to get up to get my telephone. If anybody has their agenda open, that's the first one up, right? That's what we're talking about first.
Yeah, I don't have my agenda up.
I got mine up, Gene. That's right. That's the one that's on the table right now that we should be discussing.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'm personally, I listened to everyone talk, and I also listened at the other meeting, but it shouldn't be me first, whatever anyone else thinks. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, Jeannie, I think first we have to, the first form of this is to take it from the table because we tabled it.
Oh, yeah. All right. Would somebody like it to make a motion to take it from the table?
Phil here, I'll move that we take it from the table.
Phil's moving to take it from the table.
I'll
And is
second.
there a second on it?
Second, Jarvis. Now we need to take a vote.
Jarvis. Okay, so we're going to take a roll call vote to take this from the table, and I'm just going to go down the line. Phil Elmer,
Yes.
okay. Ed Jarvis,
Yes.
Norm Hirschfield,
Yes.
Tim Dolan,
I'm here and I will say yes.
and myself, that's a yes. So, okay. So let's see. Phil, will you write down who made that and seconded it if he's having trouble? Or this is actually, we're still recorded, right? Right, Tim?
Yeah, this should be recorded.
Okay, all right, so fine. So we'll have it down. Okay, so now it's taken from the table. Now we can have a discussion about that. So who has any thoughts on this? Phil Elmer.
This seemed non-controversial when we first brought it up. I think it's still non-controversial. I think we ought to just vote on it and get it get it past us.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say on that? Don't all jump at once.
Yes, this is Hirschfeld. I agree.
Okay. Okay.
I'd like to speak on this if I could, Ginny.
Oh, absolutely. You get a chance too. It's America.
So I'm going to be voting against this change. It's a little bit of a protest vote, and I don't expect that I will stop it from passing. My main concern about this is we have not started the process of that larger zoning review that both the council and the planning board proposed. I think this should kind of be a part of that and should go along with reducing the minimum lot sizes, because that's ultimately the answer to this question. The condominium law is a loophole to get around our very large minimum lot sizes. So I think if we did both and looked at it comprehensively, that would really be the best way to go forward. So with that said, I'm ready to vote.
Could I respond to that?
Yes.
Yeah, Tim, I'm also concerned that rezoning hasn't moved at all. And I brought it up with the mayor a couple of months ago, and she said, "Oh yeah, I'd completely forgotten about that." And I'm surprised that Otis Wheeler hadn't mentioned it because we just had a long chat about something else. Uh, so I think if you want the rezoning, I think you got to do it. You have to push for it. I'm not sure this is going to be helpful, but the original idea with the rezoning was Eric Torog saying that he thought with the right committee this could be done pretty easily. And I thought he was probably thinking of a small committee. And I'm not sure whose idea it was to have representatives of every uh, precinct on it, but it suddenly became a very large committee and a difficult one to pull together. So I think if it hasn't gone anywhere, I think to some extent you guys are to blame for making it a bigger project than initially was. It may be the right way to go. I really can't comment. I think it is. That would be more democratic. It also would be, zoning changes, as you know better than I, are really fraught. And that committee, when I first heard you talk about it, sounded like a nightmare. But let's do it. Let's get on the mayor's case and make her pick some people and get this thing going. So that's all I had to say about that.
If I could respond just on the procedure, what the council passed, our kind of suggestion for the makeup of the committee, really was just a suggestion. So there's actually still a lot of room to kind of strike that balance between an efficient committee and a representative committee. We haven't necessarily committed to anything in a formal way. That was really just a suggestion. And I do take some responsibility. We've all been distracted these past few months, and I have not perhaps harped as much as I should on the council president and the mayor's office. So this is a good reminder to get back on that.
Okay. So is there any further discussion on this closing the loophole? Does anybody else have anything they want to say on this one particular item? Okay. So we're going to take a roll call vote. If you're in favor of accepting the planning board's closing of the loophole as written, which I'm not going to read because I can't go to that at the same time. If you're in favor, we're going to take a roll call vote, and I'm going to do it in order when I see you. So, Phil, are you in favor of closing the? Yes, you are. Yes. And Ed.
Yes.
And Norm.
Yes.
And Tim.
No.
Okay, and I am a yes. So that's 4-1 for whoever is writing this down. So now, Ed Jarvis, I'm putting you on the spot here, but this is my first time doing this, so it's a group effort. This is a team. So
we are on to new business, Jeannie.
Okay, so we're on to new business. So does anyone have any new business that they would like to bring up tonight? Okay. No. Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
Then you got old business.
All right. Old business. Ed, do we have any old business that would like to bring up? Anybody got anything old that they want to bring up? No. Okay. So
Tangentially on old business, I'll take this opportunity to remind folks that we do have another meeting this month, the joint hearing with the planning board. So that is November 19th at 7 p.m.
Yep.
that was a very good reminder, Tim. Thank you. That was great. And anybody else get anything? Nope. This may be the quickest meeting on record then. Yes?
Could I move that we adjourn?
Nope. You need to do next meeting.
All right. Our next meeting will be, well, we're going to have
December 8th, I believe.
Our next meeting is going to be December 8th. Thank you, Ed. This is wonderful. What a nice group we have. Okay. This is
The
really,
best.
it is. This is really a team effort. Someone with mechanical difficulties, et cetera, and I can't look at that thing at the same time. You're quite a group. I'm delighted to be working with you. Okay, so our next meeting is December 8th, and that being said, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Okay,
Elmer.
that was Phil. And do we have a second?
Second Hirschfeld.
Okay, very good. All right, I think we're gonna just say aye for this, okay? Because this is just adjourning instead of the normal roll call. So all those in favor say aye.
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 The meeting is adjourned. It was lovely, and I would be happy to do this again with such great helpers. All right, over now.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Ginny,
you, Ginny.
for covering
Okay,
for me. And
bye-bye.
thank you all for
Great
bearing
job.
with my